Well, ain't that a proper way to end the season? And it just goes to show you that the best show probably won the game in the end, and the best players rose to the top, and the worst ones fell to the wayside. Welcome back, y'all, to the DeAndre Way and to the finale of The Traitors season two, the US season two. And it has been a long journey. We made it. A couple months, I believe, the show ran for because the first two episodes came out together, and then we had 11 total. So, yeah, y'all, it's been a very interesting quality season. I'd say this is the best show that has came out, obviously in this year, of course, but one of the best of last year as well. That came out of all of last year. Um, I was excited to cover the show. Never really seen it before. I told you before I didn't watch season one. I was excited to kind of break down things and kind of see what's really going down with these players. Cause, I just wanted to make sure there was a lot of strategic implementation, and there was a lot at the beginning, I feel like, but it just kept falling by the wayside as the episodes went forward. I felt like after Kate entered the game, things kind of just went a little like that. I don't think it's her fault, but I just think that's just the way it went because the producers got too much in the way. They should just let the game be played. I didn't know the game continued to be played if there was only faithfuls left. I thought they just automatically gave him the win at that point. So very interesting to kind of see that dynamic play out as well. It's not really about getting all the traders. I mean, it is about getting traders out, but it's more than that, which I finally realized at the end. I did watch the finale as well, or the finale, the reunion as well. So touch base on that a little bit, but for the most part, yes, we are going through the finale episode of The Traitors season two. Make sure y'all sign up to become a member. We got some exclusive videos coming through. We got some exclusive Squid Game pop-ups and updates on what's going on with some of the players, as well as some other things going down as well. And yeah, we'll get right into it, y'all. So before I get started, thank y'all for coming on this Traders journey with me. I'm already looking forward to season three, and yeah, it was a very quality watch, I'd say. Some shows I've been trying to watch and cover lately have been very rough and tough to watch. They haven't been the easiest. They've been boring. They haven't gotten to the point. The message hasn't gotten across. It just seems like, there's not a ton of great things on TV right now, I'd say. I haven't watched the Avatar yet, but I've heard mixed reviews. Um, I That's the most popular thing out right now. I did just finish the Bob Marley movie. I'm probably gonna do a recap of that. But yeah, there's not too much out right now. There's obviously Survivor just gotten started. I'm not covering Survivor this year. It's just we're gonna just cover the challenge, y'all. Surprise, surprise. The challengers won the show, so I decided whoever's gonna win the show, that's what show I'm gonna cover. The challenge All Star season 4 is right around the corner in a few weeks, so we gonna cover that. And it gives me some time to rejuvenate and get myself back together in strong form because we ended the last year and started this year just pop 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 just pumping them out, with the trust and then the traders at the same time and getting all the player interviews as well. So definitely we're gonna get in the hyperbolic time chamber, RIP Akira Toriyama, and we're gonna get back to our right form because that's what's most important. But yes, y'all, we gonna get right into it at the beginning of the episode, and it started with Kate in the turret alone. She was back and forth between Trishelle and Trishelle, yeah, and Sheree on who to kill. Now, look, with Kate being back in the turret alone, it's all the game is on her shoulders now. She got to pick up the mess and the pieces of what the other people left off. The hardest thing in the trader's job, obviously, is to act like they are a faithful, and these people are not actors and actresses, unlike Kevin. So it'd be very difficult for them to do that. Maybe they should have recruited Kevin when they had the chance, because he's an actor, so he could get away with it easily. But yes, Kate had options between she could not kill MJ because she has the shield. So take MJ out of it. You had Sheree, Trishelle, CT, um, Sheree, Trishelle, CT, Sandra, and that's it. Yeah, those four. Because then you got Kate and MJ. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, they said you couldn't kill CT because of muscle. I get it. You wouldn't have won any of the money in the last episode. You guys would have been SOL. So I get why they did not kill him. I'm glad they didn't. So he was kind of off the table. Sandra, she didn't even consider Sandra. I don't know why. That was an interesting choice. She said why, but it just didn't make sense on why she wasn't even an option. I think maybe because she said she's already suspect and she thought she was going to get voted out anyway. So I understand that as well. With Sheree and Trishelle, look, I knew she was going to kill Sheree. I knew it. I just had a feeling. Didn't want to make it seem like it was her because of the Bravo connection and, why would I kill another Bravo person type settings. But at this point, it's too late in the game to kind of just use that as your default answer, especially if your behavior is giving yourself away. Uh, she probably should have just killed Trishelle. I mean, I love Trishelle on the show, but that was her best option to win the game. That was her best option to go forward and, get the target off her back. I don't think Sheree would have went after Kate that hard. She doesn't have. I don't think she has that in her to do that. She's kind of just going to follow what everyone else is doing. And hey, maybe you could have clipped CT and put the targets on him at the end and flipped it on him and after the mission, or maybe you could even flipped it on MJ easily, or even Sandra as you did. But yeah, I think she just that was her big misstep was killing Sheree over Trishelle, obviously, and the rest of the game kind of spoke for itself at that point. Kate, she they just made too many other mistakes earlier to where these late ones, it was kind of just like they're doomed, the traitors at least. But yes, she soon decides to make her decision and, she decides to kill Sheree. But MJ walks in first, CT walked in next, and CT, before Kate gets in, they're calling out how mad she looked at Phaedra at the round table. So apparently Kate was making all these crazy faces at Phaedra. She was making all these like disappointed and upset looks. And I'm like, Kate, like, she definitely let her emotion get the best of her. I don't know what was going on. I mean, we got to see a glimpse of it, but she blew her cover here. And like I said, it didn't really matter what she did after that round table. She was cooked. She was cooked because it was a dead giveaway. Multiple people called her out on her shit. Multiple people called her out on her look. Look, y'all, when you in a situation and you trying to hide something, you can't be a dead giveaway. Our emotions is the hardest thing to hide, and we got to just learn to conceal it. We got to learn to put it down a little bit. You got to train. You got to practice though. It's not something you can just do. You got to practice these things, and it's one of the most difficult things. But in real life and in the traders, it can take you a long ways if you can learn how to do that. That's why politicians are so dangerous because they're able to do that. They're able to conceal mostly those true emotions and keep it, down a notch or two. But Kate just wasn't able to do that, and that was what did her in. Her facial reactions right then and there. So I think that if that didn't happen, maybe she would have had a better chance because she was, wallowing with the rest of the group pretty well, blending in, playing, where's Waldo? But Waldo was found real quickly what those facial reactions came out, and Phaedra was gone, and yeah, she did what she did, and that's all she wrote, literally. Um, but yes, MJ says Kate is giving her faithful energy. She thinks it's Sandra. How is she giving you faithful energy? That didn't make any sense, MJ. And MJ, look, I watched the reunion. She was hot. She was real mad. She was definitely on one and holding a grudge towards CT and Trishelle, but she needs to look at herself in the mirror and understand that. Look, two things. One, it's a game. It's just a game. It's traders. Like, you can't be super upset at somebody playing a game. Two, you made a bunch of mistakes yourself. And when I say a bunch of mistakes, I mean a ton of mistakes because what I did actually, which I'll pull it up real quick, is I went on the Wikipedia website. Actually, I went back in my notes as well. And I looked up who everybody voted for and what mistakes they made. And for the final six, this is what we're going to do. For the final six, we're going to look at everybody's game as a whole real quick before we go any further. So we have Sheree. Well, we have, sorry, the final five. Look at the final five. Sandra. Look at Sandra. Who did you vote for? And were they traitors? She voted for Peppermint first. Wrong. Max. Wrong. Larsa. Wrong. Janelle. Wrong. Dan, which everyone eventually voted for. Correct. So she was 1 for 5 at the beginning. Parvati. She was correct on that too. Peter. Wrong. Phaedra. Everyone voted for Phaedra. So the only time she voted out the traitors was when everyone voted them out. I mean, hell, and I'll give this, she did pick Kate in the last one. So I will give her that. But, sorry, I'm confusing Sandra with MJ. So Sandra voted for all these. I was referencing MJ. So yeah, Sandra did all these things and I look at everything. She didn't play no game to write home about. I'll put it like that. She didn't push too hard of strategy in the correct direction. Maybe Parvati a little bit, but she just went with the group mostly. I mean, she didn't have any outlier votes to where, even Max, like, what? I mean, Max got voted out, but yes, all these votes just weren't traitors unless it was unanimous. Dan was pretty much unanimous. Parvati, it was unanimous before the day started, and so she kind of just went along with the ride. Peter, uh, he wasn't a traitor, if you're trying to get the traitors out, and that's what it is. Let's look at Kate's. She came in when it was time to vote, when everyone voted for Janelle. So she voted for Janelle, but her reason, and the thing is, Kate's game and Sandra's game are different because Kate was just go with the flow. So I'm not gonna judge her votes too crazy and too hard because she's been through this game and she had a plan just to get to the end, and then she was going to make things happen. So you got to look at them a little differently on the reasons why they voted too as well. But anyways, Kate voted for Janelle. Wrong. Then Dan, but she just voted for Janelle because she just got there, so I won't even count that one. Dan, correct. Parvati, correct. Peter, she was just jumping on the train to get Peter out because the whole alliance thing, which was silly, but whatever. Phaedra, correct. Sandra, she was a traitor at this point. So she switched to being a traitor after Peter. Yeah, after Peter. Um, and so, was it after Peter? I think it was after Peter. Yeah, it was after Peter. So then she switched to Phaedra, which you're a traitor, you're voting. You can't really be wrong as long as you're just staying in the game. Then Sandra. So Kate actually, she started out playing a silly game to me, but she turned it on at the end and actually played a decent game at the end. I didn't like the whole man versus woman thing she was doing and like just playing aloof before she became a traitor. But I'd give her a better rating than Sandra at this point. Let's look at MJ's vote. Well, let's look at MJ's game. She voted for John. Wrong completely. She was the only one of two people to vote for John in the beginning. Okay, that was way off. Then she voted for Dan, so I'll give her that. She called out Dan very early, and I think she was one of two people, yes, to vote for Dan at the beginning. So I'll give her props on that. I will give her props on that. Then she voted for Kevin. I don't hate the Kevin vote. Kevin was a little suspect the whole time, so I don't blame her for that. And she didn't jump on the bandwagon and vote for Larsa, so I don't hate that. Janelle, wrong, like everyone else. Dan, correct. Parvati, correct. Peter, obviously wrong because she was playing that little men versus women game as well. Um, Phaedra, correct. Sandra, completely off. I don't know if that's the thing too. She turned on her main ally in the game. She turned on her, so you can't be that pissed off at everyone else when you jump ship on your main ally. Because then at the end, if Sandra was there, then you probably would have turned on her as well. Did the same thing that CT and Trishelle did. Then yes, then she voted to banish, and they got Kate out in the end of the game. And then this is where her other mistake was at. She voted to she voted for Trishelle for whatever reason. I don't understand the reason why she didn't vote for CT when they were all on this like women hype train earlier, but now she's switching it over to vote for Trishelle. I don't get it. Are you still upset with the Peters group? Are you the Trishelle vote didn't make sense because Trishelle even said she thought they were friends and she didn't do nothing bad to her and she told her 100% she trusted her before the finale, the very final Ring of Fire, and she still went against her. So her being upset makes no sense. It just doesn't make sense at all. It makes zero sense. So her being all upset, her being in her feelings, her being feeling like she was attacked and did dirty, she did it to herself because she could have easily won the game if she just voted for CT over Trishelle. I don't know. She didn't really give her reasoning on why she picked Trishelle over CT, but that's on her and she has to sleep with that. So I'd give her voting worse than Kate's, better than Sandra's. So she's right there in fourth place with the votes at the final five. Then we get to CT and Trishelle. Now they had pretty similar votes the entire time. They both voted for Peppermint, wrong. They both voted for Max, wrong. They both voted for Larsa, wrong. CT voted for Janelle. Trishelle voted for Dan. So Trishelle was on game a little earlier than CT, so I'll give her props for that. And she voted for Dan again, so she voted for Dan twice in a row. CT jumped on after that. CT voted for Parvati. Trishelle voted for Phaedra. They were both traitors. I think Trishelle, Peter, Kevin, and Parvati were jumping on the Phaedra train just to kind of put that boat pushing after Dan kind of exposed her. They're both kind of right, I guess. Then they both voted for Phaedra when they didn't get Phaedra out. Then they both voted for Phaedra again. So they were cleaning up with the votes. Like they were clocking it outside of the first three. They were, and then CT on Janelle, they were clocking it every single time. I think Trishelle voted for a traitor one, two, three, four, five, 6 times. 6 times she voted for a traitor. CT voted for a traitor one, two, three, four, five, 5 times. While you let's look at Sandra and Sheree. Sandra voted for a traitor one, two, three, 4 times. Sheree voted for a traitor one, two, 3 times. Now I know they got out earlier and whatnot, but 6 compared to 3 and 4. When the very last votes, nobody was traitors. After Kate, nobody was traitor. So I guess it wasn't. And then again, I look, it's the game that who wasn't really a traitor, who was trying to get to the end and then win the most money. But it's just interesting to see like people are getting upset about what games they played when you got to look at it and take in reference of what did I do with my votes and how did I steer my strategic implementation in the game. So we'll get back on track, but that's just annoying to me as some people are getting upset over what you lost the game, just play it. Specifically MJ. I mean, she's not used to these type of shows, so I get it, but come on now. But anyways, we continue. Sandra calls out Kate for acting weird as well. Sheree, she gets killed, of course, because she was in the Bravo network essentially. And Sheree calls Kate out for being a traitor in her exit, so I'll give her credit on that. That was the main game quote, I guess, move, post game, afterlife game move she made. Sheree just did too little too late, and she didn't do too much of anything. I mean, I like Sheree. I think she's amazing, but she just sat on the sidelines way too long. Just way too the whole time. The whole time, Sheree just she waited at the end to get Phaedra out, and she didn't really drive she didn't really drive any exotic cars down the runway. She was driving, Honda Accords and Nissan Sentras. And I got a Nissan Sentra, so it ain't nothing crazy special. But they were quality, but they were not gonna like show out or turn any heads per se. And that's, why she's gone. CT and Sandra soon talk about Kate and how she's a traitor. CT and Trishelle also say that they're with each other on the plan to vote out Kate. Smart idea. The challenge people getting together. You know, that's my show, so I'm happy that they're taking care of business and whatnot on the right game settings. And eventually, they continue to talk, and then they're trying to get they're trying to get MJ. They're trying to get Sandra on board as well. Sandra to vote out Kate because MJ is with her other Bravo friend, Kate. And so we get to the mission. Now, the mission, look, I'll go through it. It's not, look, they have the chance to win $50,000 to get to this boat. Long, the missions really were lackluster because they didn't really expose anyone except for one mission when it was to shoot the things. Um, it was just to win the money, and it didn't do anything and trying to figure out who was a traitor and who wasn't. CT carried the whole mission. It was basically a mini final of a challenge. The girls, they just followed CT's lead. He took over, did everything, ran maybe like 10 miles, it looked like. And, you know, was running back and forth at the beginning to finish line. He did everything and carried the load, and they got all the money at the end of the day. There's not really much to go back onto because it doesn't really have much effect on the episode. So we're going to skip through this real quick. But yes, they finished the mission on time. They get the $50,000 to add, and the total was $208,000 roughly. So when the mission's over, they get on the car ride back. CT is in the car with Kate, and he asked her if she is a traitor, and of course she rebuttals, but he says that she's convincing, but he knows what time it is. He sees her for what it is, and CT's on game. Like he just needed a confirmation. He talked to her, got her reaction, and she pretty much was a dead giveaway with what she was going through. Now, like I said, I keep saying I wish we could get more unfilteredness out of these edits. The editing on this show is kind of crazy. You know what I mean? Crazy. I mean they go hyperspeed with the edits. I mean the finale. The reunion was it just cut. I was like, can y'all like let it play and not seem so awkward? I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the reunion because it was stale, it was dry, there was no studio audience. It a lot of questions didn't get answered. It was just dancing around the actual answer rather than giving something. And so it just felt a little bit inauthentic to me and very lackluster and anticlimactic. But I don't know if that's how Peacock does they TV show reunions or whatnot. I have no idea. But not Peacock, CBS. Is it CBS? Yeah, CBS. But I digress. Or NBC. I'm getting the channels mixed up. NBC does their reunions. Whatever. Traitors. But yes, it, yeah, it was Kate knows that she's, you know, done for at this point, but she has to do something whatever she can. And she does, honestly, I'm gonna give Kate some credit here. Her back is up against the wall. When you're back up against the wall, you gotta make something shake. You gotta turn lemons into lemonade somehow when you don't have nothing to crush it with but your bare hands. And Kate did that. I'm gonna give her that because a lot of times when people are in a backed up situation, whether, you know, say you gotta get the rent paid and it's 5 days out from payday and you don't know what you're about to do, you gotta figure it out. And Kate definitely figured it out. So I know her rent's been up against the wall a few times and she's been able to get that cheddar cheese, you know, chopped up and screwed up into to the to the meat grinder, one way or one how, or the cheese grater somehow. And she did it. So what her plan basically is, you know, Sandra confronted Kate about bringing her name up, which Sandra, horrible, horrible. Why would you? Sometimes it's better just to like be quiet and not be confrontational at this late in certain situations. I'd say if she would have just been quiet, she never would have gotten voted out. She wouldn't have raised suspicion from CT. You know, she should have just went about her business. She already made a plan with CT and Trishelle about what they were going to do. There's no point to do anything else. There's 0 point. So I don't get why she did what she did and trying to make another move because that's just going to put more suspicion on you. You're trying to win the money at this point. You playing games with what the plan is. You know, that's like going into the. That's basically Like being a head coach and going into the game and say, "Oh, we're gonna run the ball down their throats," and then you just run out in the first play, you win shotgun, 5 man out, and you know you just doing that the whole damn game. Like what happened? I thought we had the best running back in the league, but you don't want to run the ball. You got Derrick Henry behind you, but you throwing to the Chiefs wideouts. You throwing to Marquez Valdez Scantling. You throwing to Kadarius Toney, but you got Derrick Henry back there just chilling. That don't make no sense. It doesn't make any sense. So, Sandra, I'm gonna have to watch the seasons of Survivor to see what the hype is about because it just didn't make sense to me. A lot of her moves did not make sense, but I digress. CT and Trishelle soon press Kate, and her response, she pressed her on being a traitor and what she's doing. And her response makes no sense because she was defending Phaedra at first, and then she went against Phaedra, and the reasoning was all over the place. And this is when we get to the round table, and yeah, they're saying like, "We think you're the traitor," this, that, and the third, and then Kate just doesn't give a straight up answer or proper reasoning behind her actions and motives. And the thing is this about Kate too. She she saw that, look, Trishelle's group, she's Peter's group that is now only Trishelle. They had a strong influence. And she should have figured out where's the narrative pushing. And she eventually found out, yes, well, she needed to make a move. She only had two options, of course, and that was Sandra or MJ, essentially. And MJ, she's just going to follow whatever Kate does. So Kate already had her in her pocket. She should have worked harder on Sandra, which, I mean, she did a good job with that. I'll give it that. Look, I can't, like I just said before, I'm going back against what I just said against Kate. Kate did what she needed to do at this roundtable meeting. She convinced, and then before, because she convinced CT and Sandra to go against each other. Uh, Sandra said Kate set her up after CT pressed her, and she said that he might have to wait to get Kate out, but he needs to get Sandra out now. Sandra did it to herself. So I take back what I just said about Kate because I was talking. Well, I was mostly mentioning what Kate was her explanation. But yeah, Sandra dug herself 6 feet deep, like Stanley Yelnats, and she couldn't get out the hole. And that was the end of her game, essentially. She should have just kept her mouth shut. She did it to herself. She just had to be quiet. Yeah, but she had to say something and try and make another move when the chessboard is basically complete. You just got to sit back and eat your popcorn. But she wanted some extra butter on that. But cost the money that she didn't have. And the votes came around. Kate voted for Sandra. MJ voted for Sandra. Sandra voted for Kate. Trishelle voted for Sandra. CT voted for Sandra. So everyone voted for Sandra. And of course, she is a faithful. Um, at this point, look, I didn't really. I don't have my. I don't have any Sandra horses in the race per se. But she did it to herself. Can't be mad. Can't be upset. If you're a Sandra fan, it kind of sucks because your fave is out, but she did it to herself. So just know sometimes, y'all, it's a lesson learned. We gotta just sit back and relax sometimes and just you see everything going smoothly. We see that when you get your car fixed and everything's good. Sometimes, if you balling on a budget, you just get your car, thanks. Don't ask if anything else needs fixing because they always gonna tell you you're gonna need something else. You know? Next thing you know, you gotta get the brakes changed again, and then you gotta get the fluids redone, and then you gotta get the valves changed. It's just a lot. Like if your car could run for another 20,000 miles, but you want to get done early, and then that's what you're thinking about at night, and then you stress yourself out. Just let them let you know. That's their job. Unless you hear the car running funny, just take it and let's leave. Just go on with yourself. But yes, she exited the shop paying a lot more money than what she came for, essentially losing money. But yes, Sandra has left the building, and now they have another choice. The group does, in either to continue the game or banish or end the game, sorry, or banish someone else. So this was interesting. I didn't know this is how the circle thing went. So if they voted to end the game and there was a traitor there, the traitor got all the money, clearly. If they voted to banish someone else, they obviously have a choice to banish someone else. You have to, because you know that, look, you know that there's still a traitor in the building, because the traitors can't murder no one else anymore. You have to, all this suspicion was already on Kate. Um, they, Sandra, sure. Say Sandra was the last traitor and they still voted to keep going. Kate, her just suspicious activity was through the roof already, and you can't leave anything up to even the slightest bit of chance with all these people left. So it was obvious choice, and I think that what basically ended Kate's game, like completely ended it, was when it was time to vote, and she voted to end the game. What? I get that that's your goal to end the game, but you got to know that people are going to vote to banish again. You got to know this, Kate. Like, you're not that aloof of what's going down. But before we get there, CT has a conversation with Trishelle. He trusts her still, and MJ says she still trusts Kate for whatever reason. I don't know. With all this evidence pointed at her and all these people saying things at her, you even said something at her or thought something at her at breakfast. You're still trusting her. Once again, I don't feel bad for how the game ended for you because it didn't make any sense. Um, but yeah, CT said he's going to take care of business and get out Kate. And MJ's kind of on that same settings essentially. But it's time for Circle of Fire again, and all you needed to get these pouches, and I want one of these pouches. Pouches look pretty dope. I want to see that in person. But yes, they're voting again, and everyone voted to banish except for Kate. And yeah, it was a pretty much dead giveaway. I don't even know what to say. Like, how do you not know that you're on the chopping block once your name was getting thrown out there already? I mean, you did get a vote, so and you're trying to continue still be a faithful. I mean, your behavior isn't just to share it all. So I think at this point in the game, she just wasn't thinking. She might have just had a brain fart meltdown, etc., and she just was trying to end the game and thinking the others were going to end it too for some reason, but that ended her game. She had no choice, and so she just threw a vote for Trishelle, and everyone else voted for Kate, and she was out of there. So now we're down to 3 people, and they're seeing like, oh, do you want to end the game or do you want to continue? Now, I was surprised by this part because I thought that the game was just going to end. And like, oh, Faithless left, game's over. But then they still don't know, apparently. And it seems, I feel like everyone knew that everyone there was a faithful. This is what I think. I think that CT deep down knew that everyone was faithful. He knows like MJ ain't no damn traitor, but I'm trying to get a little bit more cash because that's what time I'm on, man. I just went through some things at home that I need to pay for. I got a kid at home, et cetera, et cetera. MJ trying to end the game, point blank in the period. So her reasoning is her reasoning. Trishelle, she can have these doubts against CT. I feel like all she wants, but CT made up for his mistakes. When he didn't pick her in the little circle thing, he apologized right after, and he gave her a shield after that, even to prove his loyalty to her. So why would you think for a second that he was a traitor after all that went down? That makes no sense, Trishelle. So I'm gonna get on Trishelle too. Now, your strategic implementation on this section of the game was not it. Now, if you deep down knew, she thought CT was a traitor because she voted for him, but I after that went down, you just can't forget that. Nobody was recruited. I mean, somebody was recruited since then. So maybe she thought he might have got recruited, but they just have so many talks on this and that and the third. And, Trishelle's not trying to lose this close to the finish line. She's never won a game before. I get it. But man, that was tough to watch because it's like this is your homie, this is your number one, and you threw him, and he was just. I thought the game was over. So when she voted to continue, I was shocked by both their votes. I didn't think CT or Trishelle was gonna vote. I thought they were gonna be done. And MJ knew what time it was when she saw the red fire, and she's just like, "Bruh, I did all this for what?" But you made the mistakes, MJ. You definitely made the mistakes by backing up Kate earlier. So you're a suspect just as much as her at this point. You know, you're what do they call it? Guilty by association. Gotta watch out with the people y'all kicking with. You kicking it with the wrong people, you don't get sent in the slammer just along with them. So just be careful about that, y'all. But yes, CT eventually voted for MJ. MJ voted for Trishelle, even though she said she doesn't believe anyone's a traitor. And Trishelle, I was ready to turn off TV off. She did. I haven't been this shocked watching a TV show in a while. She voted for CT. My jaw was like, I already had written down. Oh, Trishelle voted for MJ. I already had it written down, and she didn't. I was like, what? I was like, oh no, coach, this show was supposed to end like 10 minutes ago. What's going on? She voted for CT because of the reasons I just explained. Now I get it from her point of view, but and he flipped the vote. He flipped the vote from Kate to Sandra last minute. Suspicion. I get it. Very high suspicion. But man, Trisha, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I mean, that's a tough call. That's one you got to be there to really feel the energy because you can't really feel it the TV screen of how she was feeling the game out per se. I get it, but man, it was just tough. I see both sides to it, so I can't even vouch for one or the other on that one. But it was a tie essentially, and I thought, look, it's a tie. I thought they were gonna have some tiebreaker challenge or maybe rock paper scissors. I don't know. But he's like, oh, we're just gonna revote again. So what if they kept doing the same and same and same and same and same? Did nobody get the money? I'm just curious. Uh, I think that's a weak cop out. I don't think they were prepared for that. Which you got to be prepared for every single situation. I think if there was a 1-1-1 tie, they should have said, okay, well if it's a tie as well, then Kate can come back, and you can't vote for her. I think that would have been a good twist. You have a tie. We're bringing Kate back, and that's a guaranteed traitor to make it to the. Now that wouldn't make sense because then they would just vote her out on 3-2 to 1. I don't know what you should do. Maybe they should have. I don't know. Gave a tiebreaker quiz on the order people got out. Maybe something along those lines, or something in the house that they all seen every day, and that person was going to receive an extra vote or a challenge to win the final shield. So a guaranteed if someone has a shield, then it's automatically going to be 2-1. So not I don't know. Well, yeah, it would have to be 2-1 if somebody had a shield because the other people would have to one each other out, and then the person with the shield, would get the ultimate say so. That's what they should have did, but they just didn't think it out, y'all. See, look how quick I thought about that. 2 seconds, and these producers had all this time and they didn't think of anything like that. But anyways, it made no sense. I need y'all to get back to the drawing board. But yes, they must revote, and they talk about everything. And soon it said that basically MJ and Trishelle said they're not traitors. Essentially, they said like, "I'm not a traitor. Don't vote for me." But CT, he starts talking to Trishelle and says, you know, they need to get back on track, and they're going back and forth about how they feel about each other and the reasonings and whatnot. And it's kind of funny and awkward because they're talking like it's just them two in the room, and MJ is just sitting there, just like, hello, and they're just like ignoring her. I feel bad for MJ in this part. It's awkward. It's like when you with your friend and your friend's significant other, girlfriend, boyfriend, on a date, and you're just sitting there, third wheeling it in the back seat while they're just talking to each other, and you're just awkward. It's just awkward. Like you're just like, okay, what about me? And You're just like, hey, you're just along for the ride. So you're at the mercy of whatever we're doing. That's why I don't do the third wheel stuff too often. Sometimes I'll do it just because I'm free. I can leave the party whenever I need to, but now I'm not gonna be held hostage. If I'm gonna be third wheeling, look, it ain't gonna be either gonna be there for an hour long or I'm driving and I'm leaving when I want. Y'all can catch the Uber ride home. But yes, they must revote and CT gives Trishelle that look like, come on, you know what time it is. Let's do this. Trishelle, she's very emotional and she's like, look, if I'm wrong, CT wins the money, so be it. I can't do it again. So CT voted for MJ again. MJ voted for Trishelle again. And Trishelle voted MJ. And MJ, she did it. I mean, she's out the game. And Trishelle said it was hard to write CT's name down the first time. She couldn't do it the second time. MJ shook. Everyone's jaws on the floor. She should have just MJ should have implemented her opinion in this section. He's like, look, Trishelle, I don't trust him either. Let's get him out. That's all she had to do. She didn't say anything. She just sat there letting them talk with each other. I was like, MJ, say something. Say something. Anything. You had the game in the palm of your hands. Don't lose you. She lost herself in the music in this moment. She wanted. She only had one chance and she missed a chance to go. Opportunity strikes once in a lifetime. She didn't. She just let it go. It was very disheartening to see that because she had the game multiple times in the palm of her hands, but she just let it go, trusting Kate, and she let it go, not saying anything to see Trishelle going against CT. That's all she had to do. She was the flip vote, or she was the swing vote, essentially. And CT's not switching his vote. Trishelle could have just stayed with her vote, and it didn't matter who CT voted for. If she would have just said, Trishelle, let's get him. I'm with you. He's a traitor. He did this dirty. He did that. He did this. He did that. You're gonna believe him now? Let's end this game right now. That's all she had to do. But it's hard to look. She just wasn't ready for that time. But that just goes to show it separates the cream from the crop, and she wasn't about that life. And she wasn't about that life, and that the game really her game didn't play that way the whole season. So there's no way she could have just flipped the switch and done that now. But that's what happened. She's out. CT and Trishelle win the game. They win the $208,000, $100,000 a piece essentially. They win more in the challenge, but they win the money. Point blank in the period. CT's sixth win on a show, and Trishelle's not even six because he's won challenge. What's it called? Not all stars. Stars the celebrities with the celebrities, whatever it's called. It's a challenge. What's it called? The challenge. Fans, the challenge. What is it called? Oh my gosh, this is bugging me, y'all. The challenge. What is it called? It is called the challenge. Champs vs Stars. That's what it is. So CT won one or two of those too. So he's definitely been killing the game. And yeah, Trishelle's first win ever. She's been on a million shows and she never won. She finally won. So yeah, it was an ending I didn't mind. Challenge is my show, like y'all know, and I was happy to see them win. I called out CT winning a long time ago. He was my winner pick, so I got that down. Should have put some money on it, but I wasn't mad. CT played one of the better games. I think he knows how to float and stay in the middle and then jump on whichever teeter-totter side when it's time to jump, and then jump back in the middle. That's his game. Not everyone loves it, but he does it in a good way that not other people can because he has that intimidation factor as well. So you're not going to push him too hard and put him in a wall. He can't be put in a corner. One, he's too big, and two, he's just too smart. I think people see CT for the first time and they underestimate how smart he is. But once you play with him, you'll see what time it is. And Trishelle, this was her best outing. She was vocal. She was playing the game. She did what she wanted to do, play slow, but then off the start and then initially get going as the midway season turned on. And she turned it on 100%. So they deserve to win. Trishelle, they didn't always have the best strategic implementation, but they did better than most. They did better than most. I think the people that honestly deserve to win this game was them two, Peter, Bergie, That's it, maybe. I mean, deserved. That's not a good word. Earned. They did the most work. They really pushed the narrative to what they wanted, and that's the path the game went down. And if it wasn't for that, then the Traitors would have won easily. So definitely they pushed the game. This season was quality season. I'd give it an 8.8 out of 10. It was really good at first, but I think the big thing lacking in the season was the missions. The missions just didn't really do it for me. The prize pot wasn't big enough. The stakes weren't high enough. I mean, with like I said, with the money and the missions and then the banishments, like the strategic implementation fell off a little bit. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I watched season three. I'm looking forward to it when it comes around. Maybe your boy can hop on season three and we can really see what's cracking. I kind of have an idea of what I do. I'd want to be a trader, clearly. Look, I can blend in with the best of them. And all, I mean, as my plan as a trader, what I would do is I would just act, they say, I would just act like a faithful. I would truly in my mind say, you're a faithful. We got to get out the traders. I do it so much. It's like those acting techniques to where you say you're this person so much to where you start believing it yourself and you act like it 24/7. That's what I would do. And I'd get in the traders turret and I was like, guys, I'm a faithful. They look at me like I'm crazy. But that's what we do to win the game, you know? And so you'd have to watch yourself a little bit, but you definitely be, I'd be undercover brother, superstar, and we'd make it shine and come home with the cash prize. So it'll be some work, but I know I could take care of business. So Peacock, if you watching, I'm your man for the plan. And if somebody knows who's casting for it, y'all know a brother ready for to be a trader, get my robe on. You know, I like green. That's one of my favorite colors. But y'all, appreciate y'all coming on this ride with me for the Traitors US season 2. This was fun. Definitely we churned it out and got it done, and I am so happy. When you know, and my biggest pleasure of talking about the show, of course, is finishing it. And I don't like starting things that I don't finish. There's several things that we can all, you know, I do plenty that I don't start, that I start and don't finish, but completing completing the podcast series for the Trader season 2, it warms my soul because I know I completed and did what I said I wanted to do. And we got everything, you know, squared away. So it was a fun ride, y'all. I'm looking forward to the Challenge All Stars 4. That's the next on the slate, and we got some other things coming up. I'll spoil you a little bit. We got a Squid Game reunion thing going on this weekend, tomorrow, that I will be doing a vlog over. We got this basketball game that I'm also going to do a vlog over. Villanova and Creighton. We have this Mizzou stuff that I'm doing. This college, we'll see. I have some experimental things going on. There's Mizzou stuff, there's other college basketball stuff, and NFL draft is coming up in a month. This Dreamville Festival with J. Cole and Nicki Minaj and Chris Brown. That's brand new. I just found out they was on the Dreamville Festival. We're gonna be in the building. So check that out. It's coming out soon. And I think that's it as of now. There's something else that I'm missing, but yeah, I'm missing something. But those are the other events coming up, y'all. It's gonna be lit. It's gonna be turned up, and we might even be shooting a movie soon, y'all. So it's on and cracking. This spring isn't moving. So we try to get through tax season, make sure to file them taxes, y'all. But I'm out here, y'all. Appreciate y'all joining me for the finale recap. It was fun. It was a good time. And until next time, this is the DeAndre Way. Make sure to comment and subscribe. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace and blessings.